Hi, I'm Skyler. Welcome to AgamidCG. This is it. It's the final day of my 30-day sculpting challenge. Today's prompt is a male character. I thought the best way to measure progress would be to revisit something that I did earlier on in the challenge. And a male character is about as generic as it gets, which makes it so easy to compare. So this seemed like a good test to see if I actually improved over 30 days. Even after experimenting with different workflows like different meshes for heads, the process still naturally falls back to starting from a sphere. For busts especially, it just feels the most comfortable. Arms and legs are usually a different story where adding separate spheres makes a little bit more sense. This time the focus was staying low poly early and mapping out the face before getting carried away, which is something I did a lot in the beginning. A lot of attention went into checking the sculpt straight on and from the profile to make sure things seemed grounded. I pulled out the neck, blocked in the torso, added the ears and facial landmarks with a conscious effort to avoid some of the mistakes that showed up in earlier sculpts. Jumping around between features like the lips, nose, and ears helped to prevent over-detailing too early, which is another bad habit that I had at the beginning of the challenge. Around the 35-minute mark, things actually felt stronger than they did in previous sculpts, right up until I added the eyes. At this point, it was pretty clear that eyes are still one of my biggest weaknesses. And that makes sense, humans are incredibly sensitive to them, so small issues feel very off. A new technique I tried here was carving the eye socket, placing the eyeball spheres inside the sockets, and then sculpting the eyelids over them as if the eyes were almost closed. This lets the eyeball form show through before opening them up. Whether that helped or not is still debatable. The eyes just kept feeling too far apart, and most of the remaining sculpt time ended up being spent on me fighting them with a few minutes left to block in the torso. Since this was the final sculpt, another full hour went into cleanup, refining the torso, revisiting the eyes, adding eyebrows, facial hair, and some head hair. And hair is still another weakness I seem to have, right up there with eyes. In the end, it landed as a fairly complete character bust. Does it look good? Honestly, no, probably not. It feels like something that could exist in a silly sports or boxing game, or maybe something a user would create in something like NFL Street 2. But the real question isn't whether or not this sculpt is good. It's whether I improved over 30 days of consistent, focused practice. And the answer to that is yes. Anyone who's been following me over this series know that I am no stranger to self-critique. And even though this sculpt isn't where it should be, and definitely not where I want it to be, it is undeniably better than where I started. Thanks for watching this entire challenge. Hopefully, if nothing else, this proves that consistent practice with a sustainable, attainable goal really does work. Skill level doesn't matter for this challenge. If you're better or worse than me is completely irrelevant. Remove the friction, follow the same prompts, and take one less decision out of the process and just stick with it. There will be more videos of me breaking down what I learned from this challenge and exploring new ones, because the learning for me never stops. If you got ideas for things that I should sculpt next, topics for future videos, or feedback on this one, throw it in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.